Hey everyone, I hope you're well and enjoying the end of winter if, like me, you're based down in the southern hemisphere also. Well, I'd like to introduce you to my new video series called Cyber Caffeine Chats, or CCC for short. In this series, we're going to be taking a complex topic and breaking it down into simple, easy to understand, bite-sized chunks. Why did I give it this name, you might be asking? Well as my passion for cyber, yes, you guessed it, my other passion is coffee. And a fun fact about myself, I like to collect all different kinds of coffee making instruments from around the world, as demonstrated around me. Now, also in this series, it's not just going to be me that you're hearing from, but other professionals from the cybersecurity world. So without further ado, let's meet today's special guest.
Hello everyone, and hello Clara.
Hey Phil, thanks for having me.
My pleasure, not a problem. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. So hi everyone, I'm Clara. I'm from Trend Micro, your fellow colleagues, but I'm originally from Singapore. Just arrived to the shores of Sydney last February. No surprise what I'm here for, Phil. Can you pick a guess?
Probably Southern Sun, right?
Yes, and the sea, and the parks. So happy to be here.
Fantastic. And sorry to put you on the spot, but could you tell us a fun fact about yourself?
A fun fact is that I enjoy saving money, which means that I look for great deals at Woolworths. You know, when I see chips, I make sure that I only buy on a half price.
Okay.
For kombucha, I buy on half price as well, if I can. Or even my flight tickets, I make sure that I redeem my miles so that I could save money out of it.
Well, that's something I'm particularly bad at, so I'll have to get some tips from you at some point.
100% over coffee, maybe.
Absolutely. Well, today we're here to talk about a concept called CSMA, or Cybersecurity Mesh Architecture. Now, this is a topic coined by Gartner over the past few years, and if you have a look at the Gartner hype cycle for security operations, for the past few years it's right there on the left hand side, along with things like generative AI and things like that. Now, me reading into this, doing some research, it's really interesting for myself. But yeah, Clara, could you tell us why is it worth a conversation today?
Yeah, 100%, because the modern threat landscape, it's important for companies to have a practical and adaptable approach to managing all the risks out there. So even Gartner estimates that companies who actually adopt the CSMA approach would be able to reduce the financial impact of incidents by a whopping 90%.
Wow,
that is huge, yeah. And it is able to do that because it is able to integrate core business functions together by integrating third-party apps and services, which enables companies to be more agile to adopting new business initiatives. And we all know AI, today's a buzzword. So.
Yeah, definitely. If security can build a bridge and allow security to be more agile, or business to be more agile instead of becoming a blocker, that's definitely the nirvana a lot of people are looking for, right? So look, if we were sat here all day and talking about CSMA, it would take a long time. So I really want to break this down into bite-sized chunks. And today we're going to be talking about some of the trends in the industry that are really forcing the adoption of this kind of approach. So yeah, could you tell us about some of those trends, Carl?
Certainly, I'm sure all of us been through this, but COVID provided a huge shift to how we work, how we live. So, both of us do this, but we work from home. 4 out of 10 Australians do that at least once per week.
Yeah, I sure do, and unless there's a tree being sawed down outside your house, yeah, it's definitely easier to focus, right?
Yeah, I know, best time to have a call as well, right? During that time. Yeah, and also companies, 96% of companies today have a cloud footprint. The shift is still happening at this point. 70% of companies also use SaaS applications. So there's this new way of doing things for companies here. So Phil, how would that drive security?
Yeah, there's a few key things. Number one, there's a lot of legacy tools out there, I think. People have wanted to, in the past, go by one of everything. But, today we've got less and less money, less and less resource. It's difficult to manage siloed legacy tools. It's difficult, it's not scalable to start stitching all these things together. So I think that's one thing. Number two, I think there needs to be a bigger focus on data and identity security moving forward. We don't have this castle and moat architecture anymore, where everything was in the middle and we put a nice secure perimeter around it. Our data is effectively everywhere, and we need tools to understand where it is and what's going on with that, as well as the impact of identity on that as well. And finally, I think all these things are driving the adoption of things like the zero trust architecture. We can't just automatically trust a device, trust a user, trust an application. We need to assume it's compromised and ensure we properly vet it. So yeah, that's a couple of things I see.
Which is the never trust but always verify approach.
Exactly, a great mantra.
Yeah, exactly. So even being a trend seller, it's important for me to get a pulse of the industry and the customer needs. So of course, with Vision One is a platform that we have. I'm just excited to see how we could help customers adopt a CSAMA approach to deal with these evolving threats. So Phil, I'm sure there's something that you have for us in store.
It's a great question. Let's take a look.
Okay, so let's take a look at this diagram. I don't think anybody can argue that it's pretty complicated looking. And again, the idea of this series is to break this down into simple parts. And what we're going to be focusing on today is all of these things around the outside. So not necessarily the tools and the products and the technology that's trying to secure all this stuff, all the things we've got to deal with today. And there's been pretty significant shifts in the technology landscape over the past few decades. Let's look at a few examples of this. So again, it used to be commonplace for all of our data and applications to be within an on-premise data center. But now we're obviously seeing this shift to the cloud. So whether that's public cloud, whether we're talking about software as a service, platform as a service. Again, it used to be pretty normal for us all to come and work in an office. But now, because of things like COVID and other factors, working from home is really the new normal now. Also hybrid work, of course. A lot of the things when we spoke about identity, typically we'd be speaking about humans, so our employees, our contractors, but now that could mean many different things. So IAM roles, service accounts, a lot of things have access to other things and could have an impact on security that we need to be aware about. And finally, it used to be nice and easy to keep all of our data and applications in a single place where we could put a protective perimeter around that and secure it. But unfortunately, now we find ourselves as the users in the middle, and all of our data and apps are spread all over the place. So, of course, this is making it more difficult for security administrators to enforce security policies. We're going to move away from legacy tools and start to adopt some new modern approaches, things like zero trust, things like proactive risk management, and embracing the likes of automation and AI to help us in this space. Okay, so let's have a look at how Trend Vision One can help you simplify things in this world of ever increasing complexity. Well, first of all, it's a SaaS platform, which means we can access this on a website anywhere on the internet. And when we log in, of course, if you want to tie this through SAML into your chosen identity provider, such as Entra or Okta, you can easily do that and apply things like conditional access policies and MFA to make that login more secure. But what you don't need is any applications or software to run the tools. And when we log in, we can see a lot of things at our fingertips. So we had quite a wide coverage over many different attack surfaces and many different tool sets. And whether we want to dive into risk management, whether we want to dive into XDR or zero trust or a whole heap of other things, we can do that very quickly within a single pane of glass. Now, one of the key things is understanding your risk and visibility of your assets. So quite easily we can understand whether it's your internal devices and servers, whether it's internet-facing assets, accounts, and identities, human or otherwise,
we can rank these based on risk and start to get some insights on those pretty quickly using the different levels of telemetry that we're pulling in. And again, depending on where you are, we can get access to help and support. This is contextual based on the menu. And also we can use our handy little chatbot called Trend Companion and ask these questions to get answers very quickly. As an example, what are our most risky assets in this case? So again, we want to make sure we build AI tools that are going to assist your security teams and that are going to work for you. So these are just some of the examples of the things we've put into Vision 1 to simplify that complexity. And again, we're going to be going a little bit deeper in later episodes.
Thanks, Phil, for the demo. And if you're still here, thanks for joining us.
And hopefully that was useful, everybody. And tune in next time for the next episode of CCC.
Cheers.